What's going on, YouTube? Ferocity here. Hope you guys are doing well. The T800 skin that's available in both Black Ops 6 and Warzone is a problem. A problem we have encountered before in Call of Duty with the Gaia skin that was originally released in MW2, but we saw it in MW3. Now, if you're confused what the Gaia skin was, that was better known as the Groot skin. But it was universally panned by this community for its terrible visibility. A visibility problem that we have encountered once again with the T800. And players are flocking to buy this skin so that they can gain a minuscule advantage over other players, because it is so difficult to see. Which is put into question yet again, are these skins pay to win? And that's what I want to explore today. Not only do I want to talk about the visibility problems that these skins pose, but also the overall pay to win nature of them. Because let's be honest here, there was a reason why the Gaia skin was so popular at the launch of MW3, only for it to disappear once a fix was put in place. It was hard to see, and players right now in Call of Duty in this SBMM world need every advantage they can get. So when an opportunity arises to get a legal advantage, like a skin, they're going to do it. And that's what we're seeing right now with the T800 skin. And I'm sure Call of Duty's sitting back, not knowing exactly what's going on, because it's not like they ever learn from past mistakes. Because if they had, they would have known that before this skin released, it had visibility problems. If anybody over at Call of Duty play tested their game before they released cosmetics or released content, they would know about the problems. But it's all about pushing out more and more and more, and then fixing the problems later. And that's what we're seeing right now. I don't think that Call of Duty initially intended the T800 skin to be flagged as a pay-to-win mechanic, but it's become one. And yet they've done nothing to mitigate it. They've done nothing to solve the problem. Maybe they're just waiting for the launch of Season 3. Maybe they're waiting to re-release it into the store to reap some more money and then fix it later on. I don't know what their plan of attack here is, but their silence is very telling. Because even though it's not that big of an advantage, it still is an advantage. An advantage that I wouldn't want in my game if I cared about integrity. But this is Call of Duty at the end of the day. They couldn't care less about integrity. So I guess we'll just have to live with it. But I'm worried that Call of Duty is going to continue to go down this path with more and more pay-to-win skins or little pay-to-win advantages that you can collect along the way. Because Call of Duty doesn't care about their player experience. They care about money. And I really hope that the community pushes back against the potential of these mechanics sneaking their way into Call of Duty. Because we were very vocal back in Advanced Warfare when we noticed that there was a little bit of a pay-to-win tactic with the supply drops. Because there was a such thing as a weapon variant that could only be earned and unlocked through supply drops, people were spending a lot of money to get the Bal 96 Obsidian Steed so that they had an advantage over players who didn't have it. And that was a major problem. Now, of course, we haven't gone down that path yet, but we're inching towards it. Because not only is the T800 skin hard to see, it also has a smaller character model. Now, this doesn't affect hitboxes by any means, but it does mess up your brain a little when you're targeting that enemy. I'm going to show you two enemies that you can encounter in Call of Duty. One of them is the T800, and one of them is this fat clown from MW2 or MW3. I don't really remember when it released. Both of these are characters that you could have encountered at some point in Call of Duty. Which one do you think is easier to hit? Exactly, the fat clown. Which makes you think, okay, that character's easier to hit. But they have the exact same hitboxes. But there's something with our brains that make the fat clown seem easier to hit. And that in and of itself is a problem. So not only do you have an issue with visibility, you now have an issue with this skin messing up your brain chemistry on how you register that skin. That's a problem. A problem that Call of Duty doesn't really seem to care. A problem they don't really want to seem to address. And why is that? Because it makes them money. So in reality, I'm not expecting a change to come anytime soon. Even if it comes with Season 3, I'm sure we'll see the Terminator skin in the store one last time so they can make a little bit of money before people stop caring about it because it doesn't give them an advantage anymore. But nonetheless, I think that this has also sparked a greater conversation about Call of Duty in general right now, surrounding its lack of visibility of enemy players. And it's something that I've talked about in the past. I harped on it in MW2, and I'm talking about it again in Black Ops 6 because it is a problem. There is an enemy visibility problem. Now, part of this is due to the overabundance of visual clutter that's on every single map. But not only that, it just feels that the game doesn't like you seeing the enemy players. I don't know why, but I play Black Ops Cold War a ton, and you're seeing it on screen now. I don't have an issue seeing enemy players in this game. Sure, behind some obstacles, behind some head glitches, yeah, maybe. But when it comes to seeing them across the map, I feel like the visibility is just better. And some of this can be due to graphical differences between the two games. Maybe the shadows in Black Ops 6 are a little bit darker than they are here in Black Ops Cold War. But nonetheless, I just feel like player visibility is down in general. Like, I go play X-Defiant. It's so easy to spot enemies because they're red outlined. And I'm not saying I want that necessarily in Call of Duty, but something that makes players easier to see. Heck, Black Ops 3 didn't have red outlines for players, but they had a red glowing light on the exo pack or whatever they had that allowed them to wall run that lets you know that, hey, this is part of the enemy team. It was easier to spot enemies. In this game, there's so many times that I remember catching myself shooting my own teammate because I had no clue he was my teammate. There's very little visually that separates teammates and enemies. And with the cluster of different skins and cosmetics in this game, you don't know who's on whose team. You don't know who you're fighting against because everybody has some wacky, crazy, insane skin. And it makes players indistinguishable from one another. And that's a problem. Like, that is a massive issue. And yet it's just continuously made worse by visuals that seem to want to hide the player instead of make the player pop. And that is, in my opinion, a choice that was made distinctly for a reason. I don't know what that reason was. I don't know if they're trying to hide players easier. I'm not sure. But it's very clear to me that the visibility in this game is poor. It should be a lot better. And I don't know what the solution is. Because I can tell you this, I don't think the community nor myself necessarily wants everybody to have a red outline like the HVT does in Kill Order. But I know that something needs to change. Something needs to happen to distinguish players from one another. I don't know what that solution is. Maybe you have one and you can let me know down below in the comment section. But regardless, something needs to change. Not just now in Black Ops 6, but for future iterations of Call of Duty as well. So those are my thoughts on the T800 skin that clearly has a little bit of a pay-to-win slant to it, but also has an issue with visibility that they need to fix ASAP, as well as the visibility problem in Call of Duty as a whole. And I just don't think it gets talked about enough. I think there are other problems this game has that overshadows it, but nonetheless, it still is a problem that affects the overall quality of the game. And if we want to talk about increasing the quality of life of Call of Duty, I think it's one of those things that goes hand in hand with it. Better player visibility equates to a better player experience overall. It's as simple as that, really. So that's it for the video today. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in that comment section. That's all the time I have. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.